Wada Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Shalaki Yahweh, for my sin I cry. Father Shai Yahweh, for your mercy all the time. Wada Yahweh, for reply every time. Oh Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Yahushua. Shalom, shalom. It's your brother Obadiah Yahweh Kanan, and we're out here today to bring a lesson. And the lesson is always going to be fruitful, and it's always going to be well nourishing, and we're going to bring you something that obviously not everybody's going to give you. And that's a good thing. But we want to definitely give salutations out to the hopeful elect. We want to give salutations out to the Akim, the Akwal that are listening and learning. We want to give our admiration and respect and for the fortitude and the fortuitiveness of the apostles who bring this lesson and bring these truths out in accuracy as they have been for decades in and decades out, which is the most important thing, because if you're not operating within the confines of accuracy, then obviously you're not completely in this truth in that degree that you should be. So this is a beautiful day today. We're out here in the Most High Yahweh Shem Shai's wonderful, blessed, wonderful world, even though it's going through a lot of turmoil, very fragmented at this time, but that's the way the Most High has planned it, and this is the way it has to be. Now, the topic for the lesson today is a pretty good one. A lot of the brethren, the Akim, have been tapping around this subject quite a bit. And I'm going to give you the title, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about a few things that I've said before, and also that Yahweh Shem Yahushua had me post, because it was important for us to be able to address some of the things that are not being dealt with as far as the directives are concerned that we're supposed to be operating under. The topic is the covert-ish are not part of the covenants nor any inheritance of the promises. Again, the covert-ish are not part of the covenants, either one, nor any inheritance of the promises. And of course, we're going to address scriptures and precepts to support all of that documentation and information. So, we will definitely get ready for that. But let me start off by saying a few things that I need to address, because Yahweh Shem Yahushua told me to address it, and I think it's very important. So the last lesson, one of the lessons I did quite a while ago, not too long ago, but it was about materialistic slavery, and of course it dealt with the CBDC and everything that's happening and going in that direction at this particular time, and we can see it right in front of our faces now. This is important because a lot of the organizations, the not only camps but various different other religious practitioners and belief systems and individuals who follow or think they follow what the Most High is offering in terms of his method of salvation through the tribulation process that's moving forward. They believe that they're doing things in the right manner, and okay, the way he programmed them to do it. I'll just say it that way to be fair. They're doing it the way he processed them, predestinated to do what they're going to do. That's including the bug outs, the ones that are in the truth, the ones that were in the truth, fell out, any and everything, males, females, it don't matter. He's already got that situation completely under control, as he does all things, because all things are under his control. But let me say this. First off, the Father, Yahweh, he set everything in motion through his prophetic timeline. He has an algorithm process through his spiritual hand that he's working, and nothing and no one's going to change that. Yahushua can't change it. No organization can change it. No man, no beast, no nothing. Nobody's going to change anything. It's going to happen exactly the way he has set up. But see, here's the part that I think we get a little bit distracted on and quite a bit confused on. And of course, that's still his hand. right? If he don't want you to understand it or get it, you're not. But if he said preparedness is what's important, every one of his elect and every one that he has used as his elect, they all have followed the directives of his preparedness. Let me say that again. Every single one of the Most High's elect that he used throughout the course and scope of everything Yahushua did in his ministry, prior to his ministry, all the way back through the Old Testament, and we're going to talk about some of this, they all understood that they got directives and they followed the preparedness process in order to fulfill and follow the directives. We, at some point now, are having a real difficult problem with this because we run into conflict and consternation based on what men are telling you to do and what Yahushua is telling you to do. You're going to have to figure out quickly here and go to the Most High with praise, worship, and prayer. You know what I always stand on. Praise, worship, and prayer, and ask which directives and direction you should be following, because he will give you men that will lead you. But just like you can be led the right direction, you can be led in the wrong direction. And a lot of times it's not that clear. And so you run into problems where a lot of people get confused on things. I'll give you an example. I did the lesson on the CBDC. I told you, because the Yahushua told me to tell you, the process of the seed central bank digital currency process is the process that is going to be inserted into the Charagma, the MOTB, and everything that you know as far as that type of process is concerned. It is going to be that portion that operates within that engine that will be inserted into your body. Let's not get this confused here, all right? If you take the process, you only have to be inserted. And that's a small step. Now we know that small step, which is a big step at the end of the tribulation period. We know when you get the digital ore and you get it inserted, we will more than likely be at a foregone conclusion towards the end of what prophecies we have before Yahushua and Michael and the angels come back. This is what you will understand, and this is what is being taught. In order to get that portion of the engine, the mechanism that goes in there, the process is first being slowly walked on you. If you're not getting this and you take the process, you've already been chained for material slavery. Think about it. If you take the process of the control of buying and selling, I'm talking about the process. That's what's put into the Charagma. That's what you're dealing with. Don't get confused here. Once you accept that, you're there. You are there. Because at that point, you've already made a commitment in your mind, and you're performing that commitment with your body by going ahead and accepting the CBDC and then going ahead and using the process. What's left? What's left? Other than the fact that they gather you up and then they do their final portion of it. Now, if you want to hold on to the worldly things, and if you have not prepared, see, this is something that you've been told ahead of time. Yahushua has told the elect all through the whole entire time, as far as ministries are concerned, as far as tribulation, as far as all of the processes we as a people, as Israelites, have went through. We have always been given a heads up by the Most High on do this and then you'll go through that. Do this and then you won't go through that. But if you don't prepare and you don't do this, then where you going to be at? What you going to do? Well, I guess you'll have to hang out until the birds fly down and eat at your bones or your flesh. Because this is where you're going. You're going to be in dire straits, and you're going to be in isolation tribulation, and you're going to deal with the fact that you're going to need praise, worship, and prayer beyond what you can imagine. I'm not going to tell you this no more. You better listen to Yahushua, and you better stop letting people tell you that if you adopt this process, you're there. Because that's what they're slow walking in. So you gotta understand, the puppetized Esau Edom, he is used as the perfect wicked weapon by the Most High Yahweh Hashem El Shai. And because he's used in a deceptive way, and one of his powers is deception. Yes, he's got the sword, and he's got the fatness of the earth. And right in between that, he's got deception that he uses to manage those things that he's allowed to manage. As what he said to, as the spiritual demon said to Yahushua when he took him up on the high pinnacle of the mountain, and he said, look at these, all these kingdoms of the world I'll give to you if you'll bow down and worship me. How is an entity that was created by Yahushua and the Father going to tell him that he'll give him something he already controls and owns if he'll worship him? See, this is the kind of deception you're dealing with. This is what they're telling you. Take this, and then you can do this. When the Most High himself said no. So you're going to have to figure out real fast here what you're going to do, because you're going to get caught and you ain't had no time. So if you haven't prepared by now to work against this, then go get in line for the fever camp. You might as well go ahead. So that's what I'm saying on that point, and I'm going to go there. Now, on the good note, I'm going to say this for you. I feel fantastic. I feel free. I was bound up. I had demons after me. I had major level demons coming at me at all phases. But now I'm experiencing the freedom and the joy of actually being in a stress-less environment, completely stress-less. I love it. I contribute everything to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, by Shem Rakakadash, as usual. And I'm telling you, there's joy. And let me tell you why there's joy. Because if you're in this truth and you have listened to the directives of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and you've paid attention to when he said, prepare for my wrath, and you've done it, then you can relax a little bit. I'm not saying completely, because we still got a lot of hard case stuff to go through. But you can experience some joy. Why? Because the harder it gets, the closer we are to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai in terms of how everything is going to turn out for us at the end, and being saved out of Jacob's trouble as is foretold in the scriptures. But we got to go in it to get out of it. So we got to make sure we understand that portion of it, all right? So I just wanted to make sure that that was said and that was clear. Now we're going to get into to this situation about how the convert-ish are not part of they're not part of the inheritance or the covenants. Now, let me just say this first, because I went into talking about, and I'm going to talk about John Hyrcanus, all right? Now, a lot of people don't know who John Hyrcanus is, or don't know what his status was, or how he operated. And then my brother Malcolm, my Reubenite brother Malcolm, always does an excellent breakdown on history and historicity, as well as scriptures and things of that nature that come together. And when he does this, it's just a process that is so excellent, because he's such he's just a well-rounded brother in terms of doing that nature of the work. And I love him for that, because he breaks it down. And he did a couple of different good series of lessons on the Maccabees. One of his channels, he's got one of his channels is also the GMS Maccabean Spirit. I say you should go there and definitely subscribe and be edified, because he has good knowledge. He's a teacher. He's teaching you well. He's teaching you historically, and that Reubenite brother's on point when it comes to that. Of course, there's others, but I was just talking about the fact that he did some things on John Hyrcanus, and I'm going to bring out a few things too, because I think it's important to know that. Now, John Hyrcanus, of course, was he was the next leader of the Hasmonean dynasty, and he was one of Alexander's sons, Janus, and of course, he also was brother-in-law to Ptolemy, all right, which Ptolemy, of course, killed two of John Hyrcanus's brothers and his father, Simon, okay? So this is so he did do, and the reason why he did it was because the Seleucid Empire was Hellenized. It was a Hellenized environment, and what they were trying to do terms of the entire world. And once Alexander the Great passed away, after his tenure, this is what we have, okay? So I'm going to go and bring up some of my information on this. You know, so we're going to see what we got. Because I brought up a few things that I think is important. And again, like I said, I'm not basing everything around John Hyrcanus, but I want to give some information. One of the, in the start of the Hasmonean dynasty, there was a man by the name of Melangus. Melangus was a high priest in Jerusalem from 172 BC to about 161 BC. And he was the high priest at the beginning of the Maccabean revolt, from 167 through 160. And he was the successor of Jason, the brother of Ioannis III. Now, the reason why I brought that information up is because that Maccabean revolt period of time was important to understand based on the fact that that brought you also into what you call the celebration of Hanukkah, all right? And that war in itself was about John Hyrcanus and various other Israelites that were going to convert Israelites that were going to try to get into the belief system that we operate under in truth. Now, John Hyrcanus, he was not part of David's ancestral line. In other words, he wasn't part of that. So we need to understand that too. Even though he did something that was monumental in terms of trying to fight against the Seleucid Empire, as well as fight against the Greeks, and also he fought against the Idumeans, which are the Edomites, and also the Galatians, and converted them. He did a forced conversion on them. Okay, and that forced conversion is something that we're talking about today in reference to how the convertish are not part of the covenants, nor are any of the inheritance of the promises part of who they are and what they will have. So what we come to find out is that even though the time of the Maccabees, and of course Maccabee means, or Maccabean means hammer. That's the definition of it through the Hebrew, was the hammer. So they were the hammer of the time in terms of how they went about being rebels, but rebels for a cause that they didn't own. So when they went about that time period, it was important to understand that Israel as a people were going through a lot of different periods of times of captivity, tribulation, and we were not together as a whole people at that time. We had the Syrians who had the northern kingdom, we had the Babylonians that had the southern kingdom, and so you had this combination of consternation going on between us as Israel, but at the same time, you also had a lot of revolts that were going on in the areas, all right? And I just wanted to express that, like, it's an important factor to understand. What I wanted to show you, let's see if I can get it. Anyway, let's see. Gotta get to my. All right, hold on a minute. I got a picture I want to show you of the area, if I can pull it here, of the Hasmonean dynasty, and in the area that was actually captured by John Hyrcanus and the rebels that were fighting with him. So I want to get that up. Do my gap. Let's see here. Here we go. I got it. All right. I want to show you. I'm going to pull this up to the camera so you can get a good picture of it, because it's a good image. And I'm going to pull it over here so you can see it. A good shot of it. As you can see, this here is the Hasmonean dynasty that John Hyrcanus has conquered in the areas that he did cover. And you can see there, you can see Tyre, and you can see some of the other locations as well. And everything you see in the red area was all of what John Hyrcanus got an opportunity to conquer during the Maccabean Wars that he had. And it was important to do that because I needed to get that foundation for you. Because these are the individuals that, to this date, claim to be who we are. And they claim to have a relationship in part with the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, as far as them being in covenants and being part of the covenants. But Scripture is otherwise. And now we're going to go to Scripture to prove that. The first place I'm going to go, so go with me, is Exodus. And I'm going to Exodus chapter 25. All right, so go with me to Exodus 25. And I'm going to start reading around 21. And this is Yahushua speaking for Yahweh. And it says, and thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee. 22. And there I will meet with thee, and I will commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubims which are upon the ark of the testament, of all things which I will give thee in commandment unto the children of Israel. Now that's not to anyone else, that's to us. This is the start of the Father during this period of time, showing covenant with us as we are in this fallen state in the flesh. So now once I go from there, I'm going to Deuteronomy. So go with me to Deuteronomy. And I'm going to 29. All right, and I'm going to read at 1 at the top. And it reads, these are the words of the covenant which Yahweh, the Lord, in capital letters, commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made with them in Hebron. Okay? So you can see right there that the Most High only made a covenant with Israel, and during that time in Hebron. He did not make a covenant with anyone else under any circumstances. It's just for us, right? All right, and next I'm going to 1 Kings. So go with me to 1 Kings. And I'm going to read 1 Kings chapter 8 and 9. Okay, let's go back. 1 Kings 8. All right, and it reads, there was nothing in the ark save the 2 tablets of stone, which Moses put there in Hebron, right? Because I just spoke about that. When Yahweh made a covenant with the children of Israel, when they came out of the land of Egypt. Okay? Now, the next one we're going to go to is Isaiah. We're going to the book of Isaiah. All right? We're going to Isaiah, and we're going to chapter 41. And we're going to read verse 8, and it reads, But thou, Israel, art my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend. Now, how is that important? Because a lot of the wacky-tackies and individuals who claim to be in the truth or claim to have a relationship with the Most High, the religious practitioners always seem to go back to what? Abraham. They always say, oh, well, we're the seed of Abraham, so we're part of the covenant, we're part of the blessings, and we're all this and that. No, au contraire, my friend. No, you're not. Just because you say that doesn't mean you are. Let's prove it. We're going to go to Genesis, all right? Right back to the beginning. And we want Genesis chapter 14, okay? In Genesis 14, and we're going to read 13. And there came out one that had escaped and told Abram, which is going to be Abraham, the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite brother, right, of Eshcol, and the brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abraham. See, they were confederate, which means they were not part of Abraham. But Abraham was called the Hebrew. He is the Hebrew. He is that individual. Okay? So you can see right there, as I said before, a lot of them try to claim Abraham's lineage, but Abraham had a lot of sons. Ishmael was the son of Abraham, but he's not a son of the promise. He was not a son of the promise. And that's important to understand. Let's prove some of these things. Let's go to the New Testament for a minute, and I'm going to go to Acts chapter 26 and 7. And we're going to go to Acts chapter 26 and 7. Matter of fact, I'm going to go up a little bit higher because I can read a few things. All right. Let's see, among your own nation. Okay, boom, these two, right. All right, here it is. I'm going here. I'm going to start at 3, especially because I know thee to be expert in all customs and questions which are among the Israelites, or he said the Jews, right? Wherefore I beseech thee to hear me patiently. My manner of life from my youth, which was at the first among mine own nation at Jerusalem, know all the Jews, they say, but it's really the Hebrew Israelites, right? Which knew me from the beginning. If they would testify that after the most straightest sect of our religion, I lived a Pharisee. This is Paul talking to you. And now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of Yahweh unto our fathers, unto which promise our 12 tribes instantly serving Yahweh day and night hope to come, for which hope's sake King Agrippa, I am accused of the Jews, as he said, or the Israelites or Hebrews, okay? All right? So he says here, why should it be thought a thing incredible with you that Yahweh should raise the dead? He's talking about Yahweh Shai, of course. So again, Paul's getting credentials. We're going to get more credentials from Paul to tell you this. We're going to Romans, and we're going to do chapter 11, but I am going to pull up, I'm going to go to 9. Let's go Romans. Go to Romans. This is going to pull a lot of what I was telling you about, the conversion process that doesn't belong to the convert-ish. That's not what they deserve or what they get. Okay, so we're going to Romans chapter 9, and we will pull 11 as well. And this is, I'm going to start from 1 because I can read 1 and go down from this here. All right, it says, Romans chapter 9, Paul speaking, I say the truth in Hamashiach. They had Christ there, but of course we don't call him that because it's not Greek. Hamashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Ruach HaKodesh, which they have the Holy Ghost, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart, the heart of his mind, as well as in his presence. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, the glory, the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of Yahweh, and the promises. I could actually close the book on it right there if I wanted to, because that basically tells you, if you're not an Israelite, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of Yahweh, and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach came, who is over all, Yahweh blessed forever, amen. Now you can see right there, that tells you that the only ones that are part of the covenant are the Israelites. No one gets adopted. Yahweh Shai did not change everything. He is not authorized to change everything under the Father. Okay, you want another proof? Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Okay, we're going to pull more proof. Scripture. We're going to let the scripture speak. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Okay, and it says here, verse 1. Moreover, brethren, like Paul was saying, kinsmen, all right? I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and did eat the same spiritual meat as you are seeing them and supposed to eat today. That we're all supposed to eat the spiritual meat. This is not for any other nation, okay, at all. And did all drink the same spiritual drink, and they drank of that spiritual rock that flowed from them. That was Yahushua, and the rock that was Hamashiach, as it says, right? He says, 5. But with many of them, Yahweh was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Now, I'm glad I was able to say that part, because y'all need to understand what was going to happen in the wilderness, okay? Now, these things were our examples to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. And this is very important, because this is a lot of what we have going on right now, okay, in this world. We have a lot of the brethren who are supposed to be in the truth, and they monetize the Hamashiach, but of course the Most High is allowing them to do this. This is their level of sacrifice. They are at a point where the sacrifice portion of their ministry is at that stage. It's not going any further. If you notice that if a ministry seems to be spinning in the same circle and they're not giving you anything that's giving you directives to follow through with what's happening as the transition of the tribulation process is moving forward into the isolation portions, into the MOTB, into the CBDC, if you don't see anybody giving you any directives on which way to go, if you're like that old cartoon where that dude was like, which way do I go? Which way do I go? Which way do I go? Come on, that's just ridiculous. If you're operating in that manner and you don't know and you're not getting any directions and they're just telling you the same thing every time, you need to question what's going on here. Because what are you going to do once you wake up on a given day and or evening or morning and everything is changed and it's all dropped and you've got no direction to do one thing or another? Okay? So they're in the same position here. And that's why 7 says, neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them, as is written. The people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play, which is what they're doing now. You got, they're selling smell goods, they're doing rap videos, slipping and sliding on stage, telling you when a new album's coming out, running around with purple uniforms on, thinking they're royalty. This is all a bunch of stuff they're not supposed to be doing, but the Most High got them doing that because that's the level of their sacrifice. It's going to stop right there with them. And then once that sacrifice is committed, the next level of transition is going to happen in prophecy. Prophecy is a living thing. 8, neither let us commit fornication as some of them committed and fell in one day 320,000. Oh man, that's a no number compared to what's coming, all right? Neither let us tempt Hamashiach as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents. I did that lesson on getting bit by the fiery serpent, remember? Because that's another level of sacrifice that had to happen. All right, neither murmur ye as some of them who murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer who was Yahushua Hamashiach who caught them. So this is what we're talking about, right? So I wanted to make sure I got that portion of what we got going on and how this reflects back to the fact that if you're not following the covenants and you're not following the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, Judges chapter 5:11, you are subject to this activity from Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Okay, so let's get back to where we were in terms of who's under the covenants, who's not, and let's validate this situation, okay? I'm going to bounce over to Romans 11, I believe that I wanted, and that was 1. And then I'm going to bounce back to the Old Testament. Romans chapter 11, verse 1. I say then, hath Yahweh cast away his people? Question. Yahweh forbid it. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. Hath Yahweh not cast away his people which he foreknew? Well, yet not what the scriptures say of Elias, how he maketh intercession to Yahweh against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed the prophets and digged down the altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. Get ready for this, okay? That's what's coming. But what saith the answer of Yahweh unto him? Question. I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed a knee to the image of Baal. Even so then, at this present time also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. Okay? If you're not under the election of grace, you're not in this covenant. You can't have false grace from JC. Jesus Christ is not giving anybody any grace. And if by grace, then it is no more of works. Otherwise, grace is no more grace. But it be of works, then it is no more grace. Otherwise, work is no more work. Okay, I know that confuse a lot of people because the wacky tactics get all messed up on that all the time. Okay, basically what we're saying is real simple. You have a window of grace that you've been given. You're not getting any more than that. And in that window of grace, you have an opportunity to present faith and works inside of it. Now, your faith and works can be faith and works from the left-hand side or faith and works from the right-hand side. If the faith and works from either side builds up and gets strong, it fortifies your position with Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua in terms of how he's seeing you follow the clues and the predestinated process that's necessary for you to get cleansed and purified. I shouldn't have to say that again because it really is simple. If you're not doing that within that window of grace you have, then you're going to run into problems that are going to be worse than you can imagine in Jacob's trouble. Okay? Okay, so then, okay, well, we'll finish here. It says here, according to grace, then it says here, okay, all right, hold on. It says here, I'm on 6. And if by grace, then it is no more grace of works. Otherwise, grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then it is no more grace. Otherwise, work is no more work. 7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. See, now this is the part that the wacky tackies always try to say with that. They try to use that replacement theology process, that crap they come up with. We have not been replaced. He tells you in the beginning he hasn't left us and he hasn't thrown us away. Okay? According to it is written, Yahweh hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see and ears that they should not hear unto this day. I've always told you that this is spiritual blockage. Okay? All right? What then? Right? Israel have not obtained it. That which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. If you have not obtained this, if you have not understood that you were told with directives to be prepared for his wrath that's coming, and don't sit around and just go, duh, 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 and you're supposed to be doing something because what's coming is going to go on everybody, including the elect. None, absolutely none of the elect ever got out of this thing alive with other than Enoch that we know of. Even Yahushua had to pass through death for us, but who got transfigured? Enoch, right? Did Ezekiel get transfigured? Well, he got took up in the whirlwind. It's a good chance he had to get transfigured because his body isn't going to get on the chariot. You can't take that on the chariot, okay? He says, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Yahweh forbid. But rather, through the fall, salvation comes unto the scattered Israelites called Gentiles, not Edomites, not converted people. The fall is to bring in, through the jealousy, it says here, for to provoke them to jealousy. Who? Not the other nations. Israelites who don't know they're Israelites, who are scattered, because in 1 James it talks about us being scattered all over the world, and that's what it's talking about. This is not talking about other nations. And we will cover that in Scripture and the precepts as well. Okay? Now, 12. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world of Israel, not the whole world, you whack the tactics, always try to claim that. And the diminishing of them, the riches of the scattered Israelites called Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to the Gentiles that are scattered, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the scattered, because that's who Yahushua sent Paul to do. He said, go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He was scattered to them to go bring them back. Of the Gentiles, I magnify my office. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh. Remember, we go back to Romans chapter 9. He told you who his flesh was. and might save some of them. Why did the Most High say some of them? Because 2/3 on this side are not going to make it. Now, once we get past that part, all Israel will be saved. But 2/3 on this side are not going to make it. He says, save some of them. 15. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world of Israel, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? Now that could cover two things. Spiritually dead as well as physically dead. Okay? For if the first fruits be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. Now, how can you be a first fruit if you didn't pass under the clouds with Moses and your ancestors didn't do that, and that line goes down? You cannot and you will not be brought into a bloodline like that. You won't be brought into a bloodline like that. It's not going to happen for you. Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Who's grafted in? Ones that were lost, don't know who they are, running around thinking they're Greeks. You know, you see them right now. They got Greek tattoos on them. They're going around, they A's, they K's, they J's, they all kinds of different Greek alphabet individuals. And then worst of all, they Jakes doing this stuff. And you can't tell them nothing. They're so proud of this. They're so proud to be Hellenized through a Maccabean spirit, which is what they were doing. Okay? Now, well, because of unbelief, they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. For if Yahweh spare not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. Right? Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of Yahweh on them which fell severely, but toward the goodness, severity, but towards the goodness, if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shalt be cut off. And you got a lot of them who are cut off right now. And why they're cut off? Because they're spiritually blocked, and they don't understand what's going on, and they're not supposed to understand what's going on. And that's the nature of how that goes. Okay, so we covered that in terms of Romans. Now I'm going to take you back into the covenants. We're going back into the Old Testament. So go with me to Jeremiah chapter 31. All right? That's where we're going next. Jeremiah 31. And we're going to start at 31. Okay? And it reads, Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Is anybody else mentioned in that? Hello? Help me out if anyone's mentioned it. I don't think so. No one else is mentioned in that. I'll read it again. Jeremiah 31:31. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, the Lord, in capital letters, I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Now, what's that new covenant also consist of? It consists of the laws and statutes and commandments written in our inward parts, which means we will become transformed into the walking law of the Most High. Under control, operating under complete and absolute balance and absolute righteousness, and we will not be able to go off. You won't be able to go do anything you want to do. You're still going to operate decently and in order, and you will be in order. Trust me, you will be in order. Okay, 32. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yahweh. Okay, which means in that fallen state, that covenant has been broken. Now, why? Because we have to go through the process of the balance that's necessary for us to move forward and be cleansed. So that purification and cleansing process has to be afforded and moved forward in terms of what is recorded by Yahweh Shem Yahushai. 33. But I will make with the house of Israel, saith Yahweh, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and I will be their power, and they shall be my people. Okay? You see that. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know Yahweh, for they shall know me from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh, for I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sins no more. Okay? Now, Yahweh's telling you that from the least of them to the greatest of them. He's telling you indications, and he's giving you pieces of what he's doing through tribulation. When he says that small and great, big and small, rich and poor, are going to have to take the charagma, the digital ore, the process of not being able to buy and sell, big and strong, old, new, young, rich, poor, they will know him. When he pulls this down, Reese coming up soon, you're going to know he did this. You're going to think that the puppetized Esau Edom did it, but no, you're going to figure out real soon that the Most High did this, because even the heathen are saying, this is something from the Bible that's going on. This is stuff that's happening from the Bible. They recognize this. But you need to be convinced. So this is what the Most High is doing to convince you. He's going to do everyone, and any and everyone will be brought down in this way. Let's go to Psalms. We're going to get some more proof that the Most High is only dealing in covenant with us Israelites and nobody else. We're going to the book of Psalms, and I want you to go to Psalms 105 first, and we're going to hit something else in Psalms. So Psalms 105 is where we're going first. And and I want verse 10. And it says, and confirm the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting what? Covenant. And confirmed again, as you can read, it says here verse in 10, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. All right? So that tells you it's only supposed to have the covenant that only go to Jacob and Israel and no one else. All right, next we're going to go to Psalms. I'm going to go to 103. That's the next one. So just bounce back with me to 103 real quick. And 103, and I'm going to read from 17, and I'm going to go through 18. But the mercy of Yahweh is from everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him, and his righteousness unto children's children, to such as keep his covenant, and to those that remember his commandments to do them. As you can see, I'll read it again. It's 17. It says, but the mercy of Yahweh is from everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him, and his righteousness unto children's children. 18, to such as keep his covenant, to those that remember his commandments and to do them. 19, Yahweh hath prepared his throne in the heavens, and his kingdom ruleth over all. Doesn't leave anything out. Okay, next we're going to my final one in Psalms. So go with me to Psalms 147. This is the classic. Everybody knows this one. Well, at least anybody who's been studying knows this one. And this is a dagger. This is a nail for all you coveting-ish, you coveter-ish, you convert-ish. This is a nail for all of you right here. We're going into Psalms 147, okay? Because if this don't nail you, I don't know what does for the most part. All right, 19. He showeth his word unto who? Jacob. His statutes and his commandments unto who? Israel. 20. He hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh. You can see that, man. I will read that one again. To nail both sides of the coffin. He showeth his word, which is his law, which is his covenant, unto Jacob, no one else. His statutes and his judgments unto Israel, no one else. And not talking about the small hats over there. He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Put the book away, they're cooked and done. But we're not finished, and we will continue. Because Yahweh is going to perform some miracles that are coming with power. And we're going to start doing that and talking about that. I want to go to 2 Chronicles. That's my next precept. And I want to go through chapter 6. So go with me to 6. And I'm going to read 10 to 11. And it reads, Yahweh therefore hath performed his word that he hath spoken. For I am risen up in the room of David my father, and I am set on the throne of Israel as the Lord Yahweh promised, and I have built the house for the name of Yahweh, the power of Israel. Right? 11. And in it have I put the ark, wherein is the covenant of Yahweh that he made with the children of Israel. Nobody else. And in it have I put the ark, wherein is the covenant of Yahweh that he made with the children of Israel. He didn't mention any other nations. Deuteronomy chapter 7. Now, there's a couple of things here I could go with in 7. And I'm going to take a couple of them with you. All right? Deuteronomy starting at 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy God, that power, hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Get it straight. We'll read it again. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. That's the earth he created. 7. Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people. For ye were the fewest of all people. But because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. I know therefore that Yahweh thy power, he is power, the faithful power, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. 1,000 generations. To their face, to destroy them, he will not be slack. To him that hateth him, he will repay him to his face. Read the rest for yourself. You know that. It's a good passage to go through. It's the promises of Yahweh. That's from Leviticus chapter 26, 1, which we probably will get there, as well as Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. Write these down and go to them and read them, because that's where the promises come from. No one else gets these inheritances, these promises, but the people who are the chosen of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. So don't be looking for no promises if you're not. Right? See, okay. Leviticus chapter 26. 26. And I'm reading at 45. But I will, for their sakes, remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt in the sight of the heathen, that I might be their power. I am Yahweh. These are the statutes and the judgments and laws which Yahweh made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. Next, we're going to Deuteronomy. What I had, 28. And this is beautiful. This is, of course, 28 gives you everything. If you do what you're supposed to for the Most High, you get the blessings. If you don't, you get the cursings. This is one of the foundational mainstays that we talk about and preach and teach about all the time. But most of you already know this from Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 68. But I'll start at the top because this is a part of the covenant that we had until we did not do it. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass that if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments which he commanded, or I command you this day, that Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all nations on the earth. See, we had it made. And all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power. Now these are the promises. That's all you had to do, but of course they did not. All right. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Are we blessed in the city and the field now? No. All right. Blessed shalt thou be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, and the increase of thy kind, and flocks and sheep. Do we have that? No. Did you get your 40 acres and a mule? Hell no. You're not going to get it. 5. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Well, we see holes are all in it, and the money's coming out, and it's going to the Fed now. All right. 6. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. Well, clearly we see that's not the case, because when we go in and go out, we can't even keep our pants up as far as the men are concerned. So that doesn't even work. All right. All right. 7. Yahweh shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face, and they shall come out against the one way and flee before thee 7 ways. Well, we don't see that to be the case because Esau drags you out of the car all the time once those red and blue lights start flashing, and what does he do? He whoops you upside your head, kicks you behind, and then throws you in jail and does whatever he wants to do to you and say, kill you as well. 8. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all thy setteth thine hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which Yahweh thy power giveth thee. Well, we are not there, and clearly we ain't blessed here. We're in slavery and we're in curse. Pull out that Social Security card. That's your new credit card for slavery. There you go. So that doesn't work for you at all. Yahweh shall establish thee on a holy people unto himself, as he has sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of Yahweh by thy power, and walk in his ways. Well, do we walk in his ways? No. You seen Magic Johnson's whatever he calls it, a son or a trotter, a quarter, or whatever it is. See how that thing was walking? Most High's ways. That at all. And all people. And they shall be afraid of thee. Well, that definitely is not the case, because people walking around talking about, you can't take my Jesus away, and that's not the Father's name or the Son. So they don't go in his name. He said, my people are called by my name, and if you call by his name, you know his name. But that doesn't seem clear to be the case. 11. And Yahweh shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which Yahweh swear unto your fathers to give thee. 12. And the Lord shall open up thee his good treasure, and the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in the season, and to bless all work thine hand, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. Well, we can clearly see that's not happening, because we can't even lend or borrow to each other, so that doesn't work at all. 13. And Yahweh shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of Yahweh thy power, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them. Promises to do the covenant. Okay, that's what was there. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, or to go after other gods to serve them. And of course, we didn't do it. So now we got the consequences for disobedience, and we get whooped upside our head all the time for it. So now, if the convertish who have everything own all the diamonds, all the diamond row, diamond stores, own all the banks, own all of everything that's going on, and they're doing the wickedest things they could possibly do that could be known to any human. Are they under the covenant? No. Do they have a covenant with the devil? Yes, they do. That's what they're doing. But their time has run out, and they know it. And so that's what they're dealing with right now. And that's what we're outlining, to know that the convertish are not part of the covenants, nor any inheritance of the promises, because I just read the promises, and they don't follow or cover any of it at all. On the wicked left-hand side, they've got falsehoods, and they've got pseudoscience that show that they have that fortitude, but they're not there. Okay? Okay, so next we're going to go to Exodus 19. While we're still here, go to Exodus in chapter 19 is what I want. Okay, and we're going to read 5, and it starts. Now, therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine. And who said that? Yahweh said. Yahweh said that from Yahweh. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. Right? And of course, Moses went into telling them what they're supposed to do to follow his commandments. Read the rest of that on your own. I got to keep it moving because I know my time is getting long here. I'm going to Isaiah next, chapter 54. So go with me to Isaiah 54. And I'm going to read 10. And it reads, for the mountains shall depart, and the hills be removed, but my kindness shall not depart from thee, neither shall the covenant of my peace be removed, saith Yahweh that hath mercy on thee. And he's only talking about us. He's not talking about anybody else. So don't get it twisted. That's exactly what we're talking about. This whole process, understand and to be quite frank, assured of, is that no convert-ish people apply to this. I've always said this, and I'm going to say it again. This is not up for debate. You don't need to debate the heathen. You don't need to debate Edomite Hebrews or Hebrew Edomites. You don't need to debate any of the Shemites that came through the Hebrew line, because they're not of the chosen people. You're not ever qualified to debate Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai with anybody, because one, it's not your word, it's the Father's word, it's his power, it's his control. If he's got you debating them, then he's got you in a cycle for your sacrifice. Let me say it again. If he's got you debating them, he's got you in a cycle for your sacrifice. Once your cycle completes, it's a good chance your sacrifice will be completed as well. If your cycle is continuing and you're not doing preparedness to move through isolation, tribulation, through praise, worship, and prayer, through high levels of love to the Most High, the Father, and bringing him into the knowledge and the foreknowledge of disclaiming everything that's going on, then you're in a cycle of, you're in a cycle of sacrifice. And if you're within that cycle of sacrifice, you're going to have big problems. That you can absolutely believe. So wanted to just bring this lesson out because this is what the Most High told you that you need to get prepared for. Okay? And I hope and pray and praise and worship that it all turned out like you expected. And if it didn't, I'm not here for your entertainment. So it really doesn't matter. Okay? And that's important. Shlaki. And just wanted you to be well aware that at this point in time, we're getting ready to come into what we would consider to be inside the door of Jacob's trouble. If you have not followed the directives from the Most High to prepare for what you're going to do when everything shuts off and everything shuts down, then you're just going to be in a real bad situation. And if that's what he programmed you to do, then so be it. Call Yahweh Bashim Bashim Rakakadash Water Yahweh Water Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shalaki Yahweh, for my sins as I cried. Water Yahweh, for your mercy all the time. Baba Kashai Yahweh, we need reply every time. Baba Kashai Yahweh, we all need reply all the time. Oh, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Laki Yahweh, for my sins as I cry. Call Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai.